It's great to see everyone. There are 4 times where the trop Shalsheles appears in the Torah. One of those times, in fact, the 4th, is in our Parsha at the beginning of Shishi of Parshas Tzav. We know that in general, Aaron HaKohen and his sons, being Aaron HaKohen and the Bnei Aaron HaKohanim, were involved in the Shchitas HaKarbanos, particularly in this Parsha, Shechting the Chatas HaMiluim, at the beginning of the El HaMiluim, the Chatas HaMiluim, at the beginning of Shishi of our Parsha. And Moshe, of course, did the Zrikas Hadam. If you look at this Shalsheles and the other 3 times that the Shalsheles appears in the Torah, it shows us a clear message and teaches us a very important lesson. In Shechting the Chatas HaMiluim, as well as the other 3 times which we'll describe, it teaches us the Shalsheles trop, as it is musically, is a pause. And that pause teaches us in each of those 4 cases where to put your personal preferences in the grander scheme of communal responsibility. Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to do the Avodas HaKarbanos by himself. He thought that it was Magia Lo, that he deserved it. But Aaron HaKohen was, in fact, Aaron HaKohen, and had first crack at it, had priority to it, as well as the Bnei Aaron HaKohanim. That's in our Parsha. The first time the Shalsheles appears is in Parshas Vayera, Vayismama, which is in fact why people believe that the trop Shalsheles connotes a pause, because the word Vayismama means that delayed leaving Sodom. Where do I put my personal preferences in the context and in the grander scheme of communal responsibility? The second time Shalsheles appears is in the next Parsha, Parshas Chayisara, Vayomar, Eliezer, Eved Avram. The best servant of a person, of a master, is somebody who places his master's preferences and requests before his own preferences. The Medrash teaches us in Bereishis Rabbah that Eliezer also had a daughter, and he wanted her to marry Yitzchak, but he put his preferences aside and made the shidduch that he was sent as a shaliach, an Eved Avram, to make. The third time the Shalsheles appears is in Parshas Vayeshev, where it tells us Vayima'ein, which is now a movement, Vayima'ein. But Vayima'ein, Yosef HaTzadik refused the sexual temptation of Eshes Potiphar, and the Gemara in Sota, in Parak Elu Nemarin, in the 7th parak, tells us that Yosef HaTzadik saw the Demusta Yukno, the image of his father Yaakov Avinu, that told him that if he would succumb to sexual temptation, to sexual taiva, his name would be wiped off the Choshen. And in our Parsha, the 4th time as we began, Shechting the Chatas HaMiluim. A person always has to see in a decision and has to determine in every decision where appropriate, where do I put my personal preferences in the context of communal responsibility? Many of you have heard this Dvar Torah from me before. I've said this for many years. The Shalsheles Dvar Torah, we used to say at Tzvat. I'm no longer able to join the Tzvat Shabbaton, so I wanted to tell you here now. It is also not always and not often on a Parsha with Shalsheles. For many years, it was the Vayera Tzvat Shabbaton. So as we mentioned before, Vayera is a Shalsheles Parsha. But it's so important now at the third of the year. Whether you're in England, what we Americans call England, what the rest of the world calls the UK, or for alumni anywhere else in the world, the year is coming to a close. We're not at the close of the year yet, but the year is coming to a close. And we're going to be looking for a summer occupation or for a job and an opportunity to work next year to combine our university studies with some work. What work is appropriate for me? Is it something that gives me personal fulfillment more than contributing to the klal? Is that only reserved for avodas hakodesh and doing things that are Jewish in nature, doing things that connect to our shul, our synagogue, or is it also in my personal life? Where do I put my personal preferences in the context of communal responsibility and what's needed for Am Yisrael? This is definitely a year where Am Yisrael is at the forefront and feeling biyachad ninatzeach, but a person also has to think about himself, and a person also has to be selfish in his own learning, not selfish as a bad word, not as a derisive term, but selfish as selfish in my avodas Hashem, selfish in my learning and in my growth. And there needs to be that balance whenever we serve our Creator. Wishing everybody a wonderful Shabbos, and as the Chag HaMatzos, Zman Cheruseinu, is coming up, Pesach, of course, a Chag Kosher v'Sameach.